Also, welcome to Things to Invest. We're talking about investing, finance, and professional development for today's items only. The investment I'm going to talk today will be ETH. It's my second posting up today. Respect to recording time of 2:15 p.m. on Eastern Time. Ethereum can trade $4,153, about 2.52% so far. As you can see clearly on my left corner, the crypto asset class is relatively red today, and it's not really red the entire day. We had a slight surge earlier today. We've been experiencing a lot of volatility earlier today, but just to depict on what's the recent, the last, I would say, 6 hours in terms of volatility so far, the key driver in the macro perspective is really coming from the news that got broke out around like 10:30 a.m. this morning. Around that, the U.S. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell will be nominated for the second term. Right? And with that affectation on, firstly, the Joe Biden's approval and the nomination, Bitcoin moved to the upside from 56,800 within minutes, and basically across the entire market has appreciated by about like 5% in the short term. But now you could obviously see that we are basically back to where we were before, back to square one. And the market seems to be, have had, right, specifically, some positive reactions to the possibility that Powell will continue the Federal Reserve monetary policy, since in 2020, the institution has implemented measures to counteract the effects of COVID-19 pandemic in the world's economy. And with respect to the market affectation, this has led to a rise in inflation metrics in more institutional investors looking for safe haven assets like Bitcoin, even though it's not really apples to apples. But based on the media characterization and some of our observation collectively so far, crypto assets is slowly becoming some sort of like a hedge against the US dollar depreciation that we've been experiencing so far. And with the role that Powell will be keeping with the Feds, it's a form of a bullish indicator, right? That, as long as inflation remains a valid concern for the market, we should technically, incur or sustain the current price sustainability, I guess that would be the right term, on how we triangulate going forward, right? So in the short term, the Feds hinted that at the beginning of the taper, which has triggered an increase of U.S. dollar, as we could saw. You saw that correlation effect among the equity market, but also with the U.S. dollar. If you check the DXY index, the currency has been, more of a pseudo appreciating since November 10th. And many of the economists have been mentioning this. This is not the first time I'm talking about this, that the global market could be at some sort of like a de-risking phase right now. So with this affectation drives the current, translation into a current price level right now. So despite the short-term catalyst or macro driver, if you may, let's just take a look at the news real quick on Ethereum, and then we'll dive into technicals to see what's the raw truth behind the quantitative numbers that we see in front of us. The first news on Bazinga about 18 minutes ago talked about Ethereum decreased more than 5% within 24 hours. So it seems like this is, people are saying cup and handle. This is some saying like head and shoulder pattern. Frankly, we do not have a confirmatory signal as to what the chart is really saying right now. Because you could literally say that, yes, this is a cup, but nor you could also say that this is a head and a shoulder right now. So nothing is really confirmed yet. And it's relatively too premature for us to like have that confirmatory indicator yet. So we have to keep just an eye on it, be observant, and check how it's going to be going forward. So next one on Cointelegraph about 2 hours ago talked about with respect to this CryptoPunk NFT sold for 160 Ethereum today. And this looks like, I have no idea what this NFT picture looks like. It looks like a bald guy with like crown, but it looks like a headpiece. He's like smoking a cigarette, but that could also be marijuana with smoke coming out, and it's like a blue background. Okay, it sold for 160 Ethereum today. And then another one of Bazinga 3 hours ago, talk about CryptoPunk 2953, sold for $646,000 in Ethereum. So this is another picture of a guy, and I think he could look like either like a young Michael Jackson or Lenny Kravitz with like a poofy hair, and he's smoking like a blue cigarettes. I guess, for over $500,000. Interesting. And then other news. Let's talk about something we've already heard yesterday, with respect to Ken Griffin outbids crypto investors for original U.S. constitutional copy, for $43.2 million. Something we have already heard earlier today. Right, so let's just dive into the technical analysis right now. With respect to the current level, at the time of 2:22 p.m. on the Eastern time, Ethereum current trading $4,101, down about close to 4% so far. You can see that we're clearly reversing down right now. Still in the better state, which makes sense, right? Because this looks like a head and shoulder rather than a cup and handle. But again, still premature. We're not confirmatory yet. We are at the 43 out of 70 at the moment. So the next level that we'll ideally reach down to as we break 4,000 would be the 3850 and the 3475, which is the next technical levels for us to dollar cost average at. And I think the bottom technically would be the 3450, as we deplete the RSI below 35 from here. And you can see that we just broke 4,100 right now. So seems like we are heading there. Respect to Bitcoin right now, we are down 4% right now, 38 out of 70, so you know what that means. So ideally, dollar cost average somewhere around like the 52. Ideally, call it dollar cost average at somewhere around like the 47 within the frame would be logical as we deplete to below 35 on an RSI scale. Dogecoin seems like a good buy right now. We are close to being at the bottom, 21 cents to 20 cents. Oh, it's like 21 cents to like 1950 would be the logical dip for us to incur. Cardano right now with the 177. So basically, if we break 170, we will be heading to the next level, which is technically 168, right? But if we break that, because breaking 170 is basically like 168, right? Technically, it's kind of like just 2 cents away. That going to 145 will be the next logical level. But I think right now, because of the fact that we're oversold right now, I think the dip is 170. So I think 170 is pretty good level for us to incur risk. Solana right now, the 50 out of 70. So again, right, ideally as we deplete back down to 133 to 113 will be the next logical levels. XRP right now is down about 2.71%. 101 to 105 will be the next logical levels for us to incur risk. Polkadot right now is down about 5%. Again, at the 33 to 25 is still the level dollar cost average at. Algorand, as we come back down to 160 to 152 is still the level to dollar cost average at. Shiba Inu, we have some room to fall down to as we deplete back to 2750 to the 900. Those are the frames that I would dollar cost average at. And then, so going back to the risk management levels to dollar cost average at, these are levels that we have, just to remind us on the conservatism that I keep saying. There's no reason to be chasing or feel like you're missing out. Right, ultimately just look at the RSI, look at the technicals, triangulate that with some news on the macro and the micro fronts, right? But ultimately you have to think long term in terms of like what's your end vision from here, right? And these are levels as we deplete back to the RSI below 35, as we deplete to the preliminary golden cross that we've identified respectively. And feel free to take a picture of this picture that you see in front of you, and let me know if you have any specific questions. And apologies for the mess that you see in the back of my room. I'm doing a little bit of cleaning today. My schedule's relatively okay. I just have like 4 meetings today, so not crazy in comparison to like typical day I have like 10 meetings straight up. And also because the weather is getting colder now, I'm actually converting my wardrobe in a way, like putting my summer clothes away and taking out my puffer jackets and my leather jackets back out, because like it's definitely getting cold now. Like today is like in the 50s, 40s, on the Fahrenheit obviously, which is like in the low single digits to like low double digits Celsius level in case you're like from other countries. But yeah, it's getting cold, so I want to just like convert into before like I have to like kind of cram and try to find my stuff in my closet. So it's definitely like some construction going on in my house. Not construction, like just like more reorganizing, if you may, right? But really appreciate you, and hope you guys have a good rest of the Monday as well. And stay tuned for the comment. Take care.